No worries, man. I was just watching you with some sports cars and some women. Mate, that the Labyrinth of Stone video is amazing. What was the concept behind it?
Yeah, thanks, man. Uh, I wanted to make a rap video so badly, and we wanted to have a music video for every song on this album, well, every single rather,
Mm.
and so we were just like, let's do one in house. So I decided to make a video. I wanted to do a rap video. The guys were down. That's basically what happened. There's no like deep-seated meaning behind it or
Yeah.
anything. It's just decided to do it and see what happened, and
Mate,
that's what happened.
you were smart enough to not pull an arch spire because I don't know if you saw they spent all this money, like money they did not have, on a rap video on this ultra gory video set in a nightclub taking the piss out of rap videos.
Right.
And then the whole thing got demonetized because it was too violent.
Oh, God. Awful. That's so brutal, dude. And yeah, this
Well,
was our budget music video. So like we didn't hire anybody to do this. Like I did it for us. It was we were trying to pinch pennies, and the irony there is like it looks like it costs a lot of money. Like we're throwing
mm,
around like $100 bills, and we've got those cars and everything. Believe it or not, that music video was so cheap, dude. It like everything that happened we did as cheaply as possible. And yeah, so definitely did not go the arch buyer route in that case. Those poor
I
guys, dude,
I did.
monetized.
Oh, mate, I interviewed Ollie, and he's just one of the funniest dudes ever. Like he gave us probably our most talked about interview quote of the entire year. He It was "Girls don't go to metal shows," which of course
I
we know
mean,
they did. He was speaking hype. Yeah, he was speaking in that classic Ollie hyperbole. But
sure.
man,
I mean, he's not totally wrong,
look,
you know.
and at Arch, but we have a laugh because look, it's primarily your audience is primarily dudes, and I feel like a Fallujah show might be around the same demographic.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I would say, even more than primarily guys versus girls, it's like very primarily musicians who come to
Mm,
the shows. Can't
yeah.
believe how many artists and drummers and bass players come to our shows. It's a lot, and it's awesome because we're all nerds about music, anyways, in the band. So it's just like those are our people.
Yeah.
But yeah, most dude.
I can just picture you, man. I got into a band to get laid, and all it is guys who want to talk about my gear.
There are worse things to talk
There
about.
are worse things. At least they're listening. um,
Yeah.
it's interesting that you mentioned that the video was very inexpensive, and I was like, yeah, I realized that because I noticed the cars never moved.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so it was
right.
basically no touching.
Totally. Yeah, well, you know what? We specifically said, can the cars be cheaper if we don't drive them?
Yeah.
That was my way to get them super cheap. And I got a shout out. It was Dream Toy Garage in Nashville. They were like, just come down. We'll park the cars wherever you want them, and they parked them across the street for us in a parking lot, and they were like, you could just use the cars. We'll slash the rates for you, and because they're
Oh,
not leaving the premises.
yeah.
So they just made it super affordable for us, and they one of the things that they said, they were like, and also if you could make a little post and tag us. So they were just like really nice and really just wanted to help and everything. And so yeah, it wound up being really affordable because of that. But you're totally right. None of us wanted to drive them. We were like, think about what would happen if one of those cars got in an accident, and we had like the insurance, and oh my God, I can't even start to imagine. So yeah, no.
It's
Scott,
amazing.
the only
Uh,
we got them in the video, but we didn't drive them. But Scott did rev the Lamborghini. He was like, I can't dive not
uh,
revving a Lambo. So yeah, so I do have a clip of him revving the Lamborghini up, which is pretty cool. So
there's an
yeah.
amazing video of. Do you remember Bad Boys 2 way back in the day?
Mhm.
Um, so obviously
Sure.
there's that amazing car chase on the bridge with the truck and everything. So that Ferrari, I think it was a Ferrari. Who cares? I'm not a car guy, but they had gotten it through the entire shoot without a single scratch on it. And then while the cameras are rolling, Martin Lawrence opens the door into a fire hydrant, and you just hear someone behind the camera go, "What the fuck?"
Oh my God, dude. Oh, that's awful.
Poor Martin
That
Lawrence.
is
That's my
awful.
bad.
I can't even imagine. Do you ever see The Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino?
Yes. Oh, I know what you're going to say too.
Yeah.
Tell the
Well,
story for those.
Kurt, what's his name?
Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Kurt Russell. Thank you. Yeah. Smashed. He thought it was a prop, but he smashed like a 200-year-old Martin
Yeah.
acoustic
Oh.
guitar.
Yeah. Her reaction
Yeah.
is
Isn't that
apparently
crazy?
reduced into tears. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
It
is.
reduced me to tears.
Just thinking about it. Um,
Yeah. Seriously.
I just finished obviously the videos that I've been checking out. I just finished Kaleidoscopic Waves, and if you could stop showing off for 5 minutes, that'd be great. Uh, what inspired you to first pick up the guitar?
Oh man, definitely music, like metal music in general. It was, but it was kind of convoluted. It was like I grew up listening to metal, in my house, but I picked up the cello first because I had to pick up an orchestra, like an orchestral instrument for school.
Mhm.
So I started with the cello, and then I moved on to piano because my mom's a pianist, and she thought like maybe you'll want to learn piano. I'm all right. And then I got a little older. I was like probably 11, I think 10 or 11, and Guitar Hero came out. Guitar Hero. And there was all this metal, and it just reminded I had grown up listening to like thrash metal, like Megadeth, Metallica with my dad, Slayer, and all these bands, and then I discovered through Guitar Hero all this new music. I discovered like Lamb of God, and there was some Anthrax and Dragon Force and All That Remains and Buckethead and Avenged Sevenfold. And I was like, okay, well, that's crazy. There's all this music out there, and I'm playing fake guitar to it. Like, I
Yeah.
want to play this for real. So I got a guitar. I mowed a bunch of lawns, and I bought just the cheapest Fender Squire, whatever Stratocaster, and I just immediately tried to learn all the songs that I loved because I just had to play them, and then that just never stopped ever. So I've just been doing that pretty much ever since, for the most
It's
part. So
it's really interesting. For an entire generation, the game Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was a whole musical touchstone for people. And then now I'm hearing you talking about Guitar Hero like it was your Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
it was, and you know what's even funnier? I'm glad you brought up Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Literally, dude, like last Friday, I played a tribute show to that soundtrack in Nashville. Straight up,
Yeah.
there's all these musicians got together, and everybody learned a handful of songs from the soundtrack, and for 3 hours straight, we played every song on the soundtrack. I played 5 songs. It was unbelievable. So these game soundtracks, dude, and games in general, the communities behind them and how they intertwine with music is pretty crazy. Like
Yeah.
super formative stuff.
It
So.
is bizarre to me as someone who, so for example, I was 10 years old in 1995. So I grew up literally, what I have watched games in its infancy go from this thing that only nerds played, on your little PC locked in your room to,
Mhm.
this multi-billion-dollar enterprise. And I remember
Hmm.
the first time I saw a game trailer, it was for Modern Warfare 2 in the cinema. And I went, oh shit, we're on now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Dude, yes. I remember when that came out. Modern Warfare 2 was like such a big deal
yeah,
back in the
man.
day. Yeah.
Ah,
Crazy.
yeah. And yeah, the first game thing I can remember it was Halo 3, and they had we had a New Zealand rapper and an Australian singer doing a collaboration track. It was a kind of like a Judgment Night, new metal
Crazy.
meets rap thing. Sorry,
Yeah,
we've gone completely off
that's
topic, but I
awesome.
just find it interesting. Can't
Yeah, yeah. Well,
even
yeah, that was
remember.
very important to me growing up, was all that
Yeah.
stuff. It would mostly Guitar Hero though. That's the one. That's what pushed me over the edge, believe it or not. So,
So what
yeah.
were the gigs? Were there gigs that you saw? Um, yeah, the first few shows that you went to that just had your jaw dropping.
I saw Megadeth very early. And In Flames was
Hmm.
opening for them. And that was pretty sick, dude. That was crazy to see. And I mentioned my dad earlier. I mean, he just showed me all this like thrash metal from the 80s, and I don't know why or what he was thinking, but I guess, thought that, like a kid would, I don't know. He just wanted to show me when I was a kid. So I grew up on that stuff. And he then eventually took me to see all those bands. So I saw like Iron Maiden and Metallica and Slayer, um, super early, like too early, way, you know what I mean? Like before most people are going to see shows. So I think I was 10 when I saw Megadeth, and that was the first real show that I ever went to. But as I started to get older and develop my own music tastes, like I got into prog metal pretty early too. So I saw Meshuggah when I was 15, I think, and that was
Yeah.
probably one of the most eye-opening shows I ever saw.
What tour
And
was that? What album were they
it
touring?
was Coloss. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
Coloss in
I got to see them on the
2012.
Obscene for the first time ever. I got to see them. They were touring Obscene, so it was literally
Wow.
the first run of Hearing the Bleeding.
Wow. That's like metal, prog metal history. You got to see that. That's such a legendary album. Insanely sick. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
Uh,
cool, man. But the Colossus, seeing them play those songs and play on that tour was definitely something. That for sure opened my eyes a bit. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Like there are certain bands that are a genre unto themselves. Like
mhm.
bands like, for Meshuggah or Primus, or a band that just sounds
Yeah.
so undeniably like them, and they're not copying anyone because quite literally no one sounded like them until they came along. What are some of the bands that
Totally.
spring to mind when you think of being
Uh,
peerless?
Pantera and the Mars Volta. Those are the first two. They've really come to my mind. And I'd say, you know what? Animals as leaders too. I think
Hmm.
Animals as leaders came along and nobody had ever heard anything like it. It was so unique and new, um, especially at that time. But the Mars Volta too. I mean, that's my all-time favorite band. Like without a doubt, it's the Mars Volta. Um, Nobody sounds like the Mars Volta. I mean, they just fuse all these different genres together and different like musical ideas from different cultures, and but then not only that, but you also have Cedric's voice, which is
Mm,
really pretty high, plus all the effects that they put on everything, but also his
yeah.
voice. I mean, if you listen to the Bedlam and Goliath, a lot of those vocals are, I'm pretty sure, like outside of a human's range because they pitch shift them up like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say that's like the number one. And then I mentioned Pantera because nobody's ever been like them. I mean, they're
Mm.
just so clearly them, when you hear them. So I don't know. I think most of that is Dime, but what do I know?
Well,
Definitely one of my guitar heroes, though. If I had to name one, it'd be him. So.
what I find interesting about Pantera changed my fucking life. They literally were the first metal band I
Mhm.
ever heard, and they blew my mind. Um, what I find interesting about them is that what I think made them truly special was that you had three guys who worshipped Van Halen and one guy who worshipped Henry Rollins, and
Yeah,
boom, it was
totally.
lightning in a bottle with those four guys. And it was not something that happened by accident. They were going for 10 years before most of us ever heard of them. But
Totally. They had like four albums came out before Cowboy.
and they're fucking
I'm
terrible. I
pretty
hate
sure.
them.
I know. I know. It's like hair metal, dude, and it sounds bad. It's just not good. It's I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
no
not for us. Not for us.
disrespect,
Yeah, yeah.
but
It's just not for us. Yeah.
no, not for us.
But so what were the biggest challenges in creating Xenotaph?
Man, well, we kind of speed runned this album. We were really trying to get it out as fast as we could, without compromising any of the material. We wanted it to be exactly as intentional as it became, but in order to get it there, you have to put a lot of time into it. But then we're trying to not take a lot of time with it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it became like it was our obsession for it was like a year of working on it, from absolute start to finish. But the last couple months, it was straight up like all we were doing is working on this album together. Um, so I would say that was a challenge for sure. And for me personally, this was my first time writing any material with the band.
hmm
So because this was also my first album with the band,
hmm
um, so it was a challenge for me to bring material to the table that I felt like fit in the Fallujah discography.
yeah,
I wanted to make sure that I didn't like whatever I bring to the table has to fit. Period. I mean, it's just got to be, you know, even if it's new or a little different for Fallujah, it still has to come full circle for Fallujah. It's got to be a Fallujah thing in the end. So that was a challenge for me, but I wound up approaching it just by writing as much material as I could before we started doing writing sessions together, and then I filtered through all that and brought my favorite and best stuff to Scott and Kyle, and a handful of those things we wound up fleshing out into miscellaneous songs or chunks of songs, and then we were off. So,
uh,
you know,
geez, they
good
don't
job.
normally get the new bloke to do interviews. Is this part of like a Fallujah hazing ritual?
Yeah. I'll blink three times. That's my sign that I'm under duress. Um, it's yeah, I think with one thing that I've always done from day one is I always just try to do more than
Yeah,
than what he asks. So it's kind of I don't know. Maybe they're probably like, yes, thank you. Finally, now I don't have to do interviews. But
yeah.
I put my hat in the ring. I was like, if you guys need, I'll do some interviews. I can talk. I'm I'm not bad looking. I'll be okay.
Oh, look, mate, stunning, stunning. What a vision! What a vision! Yeah,
Yeah.
all I can think of is like some Jason Newsted kind of. They're going to turn your tracks down on the album.
No, no. Oh, I can't
No.
imagine. Please.
Oh dear, mate, this has been fun. Sam, so
Yeah, man.
where I realise I've done an entire interview with you, and I don't actually know where you are. It's normally my first question. Where are you at the moment?
Oh, right now I'm actually visiting my family in Michigan.
Oh,
But I'm based in Nashville these days. So
okay.
and the band is too. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So I'm a Michigan man right now.
God, what a terrible place to have a band, Nashville. I bet there's no music there like at all. Fucking shit.
No music, dude. The scene
Awful.
is
Yeah.
yeah, it's something else. I don't know why they call it the Music City. There's like no music.
Awful. Mate, thank you very much for your time, dude, and
Yeah,
congratulations on
dude.
the album. It sounds amazing. So
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was really nice talking to you. I really appreciate your time and hope we get to do this again sometime.
easy, man. I'll be here. Have a good one, mate.
All right, sweet.